Hey y'all, welcome to Capacity Central. I am Ty Boone, owner of Ty Boone Enterprises, Ty Boone Consulting. We are getting ready to go into our Be Worth Funding movement. And I have today as my guest Miss Alyssia Knox of Leaders of Excellence, and she has a whole lot to say about her organization, and we're here to listen. This is one of the early sessions of Be Worth Funding. I wanted to go ahead and jump on and get started with this, just to introduce Be Worth Funding to our audience. Really wanting to let you know what the Be Worth Funding movement is all about, because we have a lot of organizations, a lot of folk out there who are deserving of funding, but not a whole lot of people who are really worthy of the funding that they are seeking. So we're setting up this movement this year so that we can encourage you, give you the information, give you the tools necessary to be worth funding, and show you what a funding worthy organization looks like. So here is my friend, Alyssia Knox, Leaders of Excellence. Tell us a little bit about your organization, what you do, and let these good people know why you are worth funding out here.
All right. Again, my name is Alyssia Knox. I'm the executive director of the nonprofit Leaders of Excellence, and we're located in Birmingham, Alabama. Leaders of Excellence, what we do is we work with at risk youth ages 15 to 26 to just make sure that they're career ready. We do that through two programs that we have. We have a program called Power, and that stands for Providing Opportunities for Wealth and Economic Resilience. And that program is just career readiness center where we're working with kids. We're helping them get resumes. We're practicing and doing mock interviews. We're helping them get jobs and internships, and just giving them all the tools that they need so that they can be prepared for the workforce. And then we also have another program where it's just STEM focused, where we're exposing youth to those STEM related careers, which are, in high demand right now. But the demographic that we work with and that we serve, which is again at risk and disadvantage, a lot of times they don't get that exposure to those jobs when it comes to aviation, aerospace, engineering, those mechanical type jobs. So we make sure that we have hands-on activities, and then we make sure that we're educating them and exposing them to those jobs. So with both of those programs, it's just designed to make sure that we're supporting our kids, we're educating them, and then just providing a direct linkage to those career opportunities that are available.
And I wanted to, because you said two things that stood out to me right away, right? You said exposure, and I took notes because this is what I got this pen for. You said exposure and you said high demand, right?
Yes.
A lot of times we get into programs or we're trying to provide services that there is really no demand for, right? And we
Right.
find ourselves struggling with funding. Like, where are we going to get money from? Who's going to fund this thing? Nobody is looking at this thing, but we know that things like STEM, STEM education, getting especially, Black and Indigenous people of color into these kind of careers, that's something that's trendy, right? And not
Yes.
just trendy, it sets you up for a long-term impact as an individual, as a family. We talk about, breaking, or producing generational wealth and breaking the
Yes.
patterns of poor generational financial responsibility and all this kind of stuff. And what you're doing, you're situating these kids in a place where, hey, this is what we're doing as young people, but as we grow older, this is also going to impact our family for the long term, right?
Yes.
This
Yes.
exposure that you're giving, and you work with a lot of kids who are in the inner city. You're working with just kind of a mix of kids. I think with your
Yes.
organization, a lot of kids are not exposed to certain things, and if you do not have the exposure, you don't know what's available to you, right?
Right.
And
Right.
being able to show kids that, hey, there's more to it than this thing, or more to it than that thing. I'm
Yeah.
going to take you over here, or I'm going to bring that over here to you, so that you can see that there's more to it than this. And this is not only going to benefit you today as a kid, but it's going to benefit you at some point in the future. And that is what, in
Yes.
my opinion, based on these two programs, and I know you got some other stuff going on behind the scenes too, but based on these
Yes.
two programs, you're able to communicate to families, to the community, to other gatekeepers and folk out in the community, that what we're doing is worth it, because we
Yeah.
don't want generation after generation of our youth to be stuck right here in this situation, we're going to take them over here, or we're going to bring this to them. And a lot of times, taking them somewhere might be a hard thing to do. So instead of me
Yes.
having to take them over here, you have to be really kind of cognizant of resources, right? Sometimes
Yes.
it's more resourceful to bring it to them, right?
Hmm.
Connect with these partners and bring it to them. And speaking of partners, I follow you, and I know that you have a lot of partners in the city, things
Yes.
that you're working on with partnerships. A lot of people find it difficult to get partnerships, and it
Yeah.
might be all about the approach and what you're doing, how you present yourself, whether or not what you're doing is something that the potential partner sees as worthwhile, and what you also bring to the table. Can you talk a little bit
Right.
about your partners? You don't have to name them. You can kind of say what their area is or what their fields are, and what you bring to the table as a partner that really engages these other partners into working with you.
Yes. So I think that first for me, it was just the mindset. I think that, you know, we are us as people who are passionate and do the work, we want to solve every problem. But if you're doing too much of everything, then you can't be an expert at nothing. So with that, just understanding that and getting in that mindset, I knew that for leaders of excellence to grow, like we had to reach out to partners. And there's so many people who are doing just good work and who are doing it well. So I reached out to them. I just basically say I had two groups. You know, you have one group of people who are providing services that I don't provide. And I'll
Mhm.
reach out to them because even though I'm not providing a service, I know that my kids still need that service. For example, they may need some mental health support or some mental health counseling or family counseling. I don't offer that, but I'll reach out to someone and try to partner with the entity, even if it's not a formal partnership, at least set up a referral system to where I have a direct contact to where I'm going to reach out and say, hey, I have a kid, who's in need of services. Can you streamline and get them in? And what I bring to the table as far as that is they can do the same with me. When they have kids that need help with just trying to navigate life, figure out what it is that they want to do career wise, they'll reach out to me and I'll help them, navigate them through that process. So people that that are not doing services that I do, I connect with them to make sure my kids are just getting those wraparound services. And then
Mhm.
there's also people that I reach out to who do similar work that I do. And I reach out to them because they're great at what they do. I don't want to duplicate the service, but I know what they're doing is essential and is needed. So I'll reach out to them and I'll just say, hey, we both have the same, mission. We both want to help these kids advance in the workforce. So what are you doing to
Mhm.
combat that? What are you doing to help that? They'll explain what they're doing, and then I'll just ask them, well, what areas, what gaps are you seeing? And then I'll go attack those gaps. So I'm filling in the areas that they feel like is needed, and from there we just form a partnership because I go into it just letting them know, like, hey, I'm here to help. It's not a competition type of thing. It's we all, like I said, just are have the same goal and intentions of helping these kids. And when you go into it with that mindset and just understanding that you can go further, just with collaborating with other people, and you articulate that to them, usually it works. Like I said, when you're
Mhm.
not really trying to duplicate a service, you're trying to fill in the needs. You're communicating with each other. You guys are sharing resources. It just it works. It works well. So, but it
It
all
works,
started,
right?
like I said, with just that mindset of just understanding
Mhm.
that partnerships are essential to help your nonprofit grow.
Mhm. And I love that you said it starts with mindset, because that is everything starts with this, with the state of mind, right? There's so many
Yeah.
organizations who refuse to partner because they have a backwards mindset. They're saying, "Oh, I don't want," especially when you're saying, "Hey, there's some organizations out there that are doing the same thing that I'm doing." People are scared to partner with those organizations. They're like, they're gonna steal my stuff. And I say it all the time. If you don't want your stuff, nobody else don't want your stuff either. Especially if your stuff rabbit. Nobody don't want your stuff. We're stronger together,
Oh,
right? We're stronger together. And
yes.
if you see organizations that are out there that are doing what you do, you can do more together. At the end of the day, it's all about
Yeah.
those you serve, those kids you serve, the impact that you're trying to make. And
Yeah.
there's plenty of those kids to go around, right? There's plenty of the problem that you're solving to
Yeah.
go around. So, and again, when you mentioned something else, you said, I identify organizations who are doing things and are doing things well. So you're not looking for raggedy
Yeah.
folk, right? You're not looking for folk that's going to be a burden, on your organization where you're pulling all the weight and you're trying to do all this kind of stuff
Yes.
because that all, who you're associated with goes a long way with your organization because if they're credible, you're credible, that kind of thing. So you don't want to connect with
Yes.
partners who are not credible. And I see in your partnerships from watching you that you have linked with some very credible organizations to support your organization. But what you bring to the table, so you bring your credibility to the table. There's a certain skill set and a certain process and protocols that you have, and then you look at theirs. And
Yes.
okay, how can we make this work together? We're not competing.
Yes.
What we're trying to do is solve a problem, and this problem is so much
Mhm.
bigger than either of our organizations. So together
Yes.
we can do this. You said I attack the
Yes.
gaps, right? I look and see. We have this conversation. Where do you see the
Mhm.
problems are with our community that we're serving? Where do I see these problems? And how can we work together to solve these problems and still let this magnify both of our missions? We're doing the same thing. We can work
Yes.
together. There's funding opportunities when you talk about being funding worthy and being able to attract the kind of funds that you want to attract. Funders, when they see that they get the biggest bang for their buck, when they see that you have partners that are doing a
Mhm.
good job,
Yeah.
they see that you're stretching your capacity. They want to fund you, right? I love it that you have every time I look at you on social media, I'm like, that girl got another partner. She's doing something. When you send an email or something, I'm like, she done something else, right? And
Yes.
it's all about continuing to do the work. And sometimes we kind of fall out and we get fatigued. And your
Yeah.
organization has not been around that long, right?
Yeah.
But it's easy to get tired. It's like, look, you know what? Especially in the beginning, you're like, look, ain't nobody. This ain't working. Yeah, I'm about to quit this because this ain't
Right.
doing what it's supposed to be doing, at least
Yeah.
not what I thought it was going to be doing. So I'm going to quit. And then you find out, you know what? If I dig a little bit deeper, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
If I dig a little bit deeper, if I connect with the right partners and the right
Mhm.
people, they're going to help me to make this happen. I just have to know what I'm talking about when I talk to them.
Yes.
And then, and a lot of folks do not. So when you're trying to decide or trying to figure out funding worthiness and how do I communicate whether or not I'm worthy of funding, they don't know how to present their case, right? And you're in a position where you don't have to beg for it. They go by what they see. They see that you're out here. They see you with the job fairs. I see you with the job fairs, right? They see you with the talent show. And not just these one-off events, but the long-term effect of these events. I always talk about programs and the payers in the programs and how you have brought these events and activities together to produce results, to solve a problem. So when you string them together strategically, you end up solving a problem that other people wouldn't have recognized was even a problem, right? You're like, okay, I need to get these people. I saw you with, I mentioned your drones before we got on scene. I saw that, and when you jumped right to it, right? I remember when the World Games came, and you were like, "We're gonna do that right there. We're gonna get into this thing, and we're gonna do this, and this is gonna help our kids." And because you're also focused in STEM education, it's a perfect fit. So you're not going outside of your mission. Your goal is to expose these kids to different things. Kids who you had doing this aren't traditionally exposed to things like that. So you're like, you know what? This is my opportunity, right? Taking the opportunities, knowing which opportunities work for your mission, putting you in line with those, right? The correct partners is what people see. And when they see that, they start to buy into your mission, what you are doing right now. A lot of people go on vision and they talk about what I want to do in the future. When I see your organization, I see what you are doing right now. When people can trust what you are doing right now, they're more willing to support your vision, what you're going to do in the future, right? I see you every day. Okay, this is what she's doing today. She got job fairs today, kids lining up today. I see that right now, right? You have success stories today of connecting kids with internships and having businesses to partner with your organization today. That's what I wanted to, really have people understand when I talk about funding worthiness, right? Everybody has a vision. Everybody has big goals and big dreams, or at least you should, right? You should. But not everybody is able to walk things out today. you know Sometimes that's because we got too much going on, or we're trying to do too many things at one time, and we end up getting nothing done, kind of like you alluded to earlier. But having to focus on, what am I doing now? How am I solving the problem now? How can I change my mindset today so that I can partner today with someone today, so we can do this thing that I told people in the community that I was going to do today. A lot of us are falling behind. We're not getting the funding because we're too worried about what we should be thinking about 5 years from now, right? I want to do housing, for example, and that's a big one, right? I want to do housing. I need to have a 200 unit complex, and you ain't got no money today, right? You don't get them. But what can I do today? Today I can connect with the hotels across town, and they can give somebody a gift card for housing. So now I have my numbers. I want kids to go to school for STEM education, but if I'm in ninth grade, it's going to be another 4 years before I get there. So what can I do today? I can teach them STEM now. They can learn robotics today. I don't have to wait until they graduate high school to go to major in engineering. I can bring an engineering professor today to teach them about engineering today. I can expose them now. I'll keep on talking. You can add to this conversation. What you got?
No, that's good. I agree. And I think that, to be honest, I was one of those people. I'm just so, I could see the vision, and it's so far down the line, but I really had to like just narrow and pull it back and figure out what could I do like right now, because all this
Mm-hmm.
can't be done, within this time frame. And like you said, time just passes us by, so you really have to narrow down like your scope of work, figuring out what you
Mm-hmm.
can do, who you can utilize to help build what you're trying to do right now. And then I also think the community is it
Yep.
helps a lot as well. So
Yep. In that community, talk about because, and I know you're a community person, so you get to see what's going on in the community with your kids. You're involved. Talk about the importance of community and how that helps to facilitate the work that you do.
I would say that the community, like, they just key, they essential to everything that we do, like in some capacity, no matter who you serve in, it's a member of the community. So I feel like you have to talk to the community, you have to go build relationships with the community. And that's something that our organization does. We don't just do, you know emails and make Facebook posts and say, hey, join our program. The areas that we're looking to serve, we go into the communities like politicians. We knocking on doors. We're talking to families. We're talking to their parents. Like, we don't go in also just telling them what we're gonna do or what we think needs to be done. We have conversations with them like, what do you think that your kids need? What are some things that we could do with what we're offering to support your kids? Are there any additional needs that can hinder them? If we were to provide these services, are there some supports that you need, that if I was to provide these services and these jobs for your kids, that you can reiterate it at home? Are there any barriers, transportation? Like, what do you need that if I was to come into your community and provide these resources and jobs for your kids, to make sure that we're working together to help them excel? So just building relationships with the community, them
Mm-hmm.
parents, businesses in the community, the city councils in the areas that you're trying to facilitate and have programs in, the rec centers, the libraries. It's just really, really important to just reach out to those different people, let them know what you're doing, get their support. And once you get their support, I just think that it just makes things just much smoother. When we put things out there for volunteering, the community, they coming. When we
Mm-hmm.
put a fundraiser out, the community, they're coming. So the community is just a really, really good support system that I lean to, and I really just utilize
Mm-hmm.
to just help me just do the work that I do. So
I love it. You said we ain't just putting stuff, we ain't just taking pictures and posting on Facebook and do whatever. We're going out there, right? We go out there and we ask the parents, we ask the guardians, are you going to be, if we do this program, are you going to be able to help us to continue this program at home? Because you're wanting long term success. You're trying to create an impact, right? You're trying to
Mhm.
change, you're trying to create a transformation. Because if I just do it here in my space, when I get home, if they don't have the tools that they need, it's going to fall apart. So we need some reinforcement at home. What do you need? How can we help you to help your kid at home? And you go and ask them, right? You say we ain't just posting fancy pictures and giving you this stuff that we're posting on Facebook or whatever. This is the results of what we're doing, right? When I see your drone competition and y'all done won a trophy, this is a result, right? Because and you're teaching them more than just how to build a drone. You're teaching teamwork, you're teaching sportsmanship, all this kind of stuff that's going to take them to the next place, but you're also engaging those people who care about them, their parents, the community, right? I just saw this morning in Birmingham where another kid was
Oh,
killed. Did you see that?
yes,
Um,
I did. A little girl. That was so
yes,
sad.
a little
Mhm.
girl in her sleep, minding
Yeah.
her business, right? And killed drive by or something. I mean,
Yep, that was what it
just
was.
mind, just whatever, right?
Hmm.
The community is so important because it doesn't start with the shooter. It starts with what before him or her or whatever
Right.
happened, right? What are we missing in
Yeah.
these organizations that you guys have? You guys are really coming up to fill that void, right? Where
Yes.
you think about if a kid is with you and participating in your thing, he doesn't have time to go out and get into the wrong thing. We're teaching you how to
Yes.
build drones. We ain't teaching you how to shoot people, or whatever, right? So these things that are positive, and the community sees that. So when you have something, because they see it, when you have something, they're going to be ready to support it. And like you said, a lot of times they're organizations who just don't get out there. They want to sit behind the computer screen. They want to go on Facebook. They want to post, pictures on Instagram, but there's no real mission work behind it.
Hmm.
And that takes away from your funding worthiness because we want to know that you are creating results. We want to see this. We want to see your numbers. We want to see how many people have you connected to jobs, if jobs is the thing. You don't have to win the drone competition, but the fact that your kids now know about STEM and STEM education and know how this works. They've been exposed to competition in the science field. They know how to write a paper. These kind of things that they have to do if they want to go to college, when they want to go to college, they go to job fairs. They get to choose what career field they want to go to, and they get to select. If you got more than one employer who's looking at you, now you get to make a decision. These are the things that you have to do in your life when you grow up, right? When you
Yeah.
get two job offers, you're like, which one should I take? Like, what should I do? And you get to do these things and have some cognitive reflection on what it is you're trying to do. So you're equipping them with lifetime characteristics and skills they're going to use at some point in the future that's not just helping them right now, but helping them long term. I love what you're doing, girl. I ain't gonna hold you all day.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
I think I've asked everything that I wanted to ask of you. I just really wanted people to get a feel of what the work looks like. What creating partnerships look like. You got to go out there and you got to make it happen. You can't just
Mhm.
sit behind the screen. You got to go knock on some doors sometimes. You got
Mhm.
to see what your folks need. And a lot of times we give people what we think they need, not
Mhm.
what they really need. So asking the question, what do you need? Taking some of this information and some of these numbers, you're going to be able to successfully continue your organization. Like you said, if I have a fundraiser, the community jumps in. We
Yes.
ain't even talked about grants yet, right? But I know that if I have a fundraiser, or if I have an event, or if I have an activity, the community is going to support me because they appreciate what I'm doing and I'm showing them what I'm doing. I'm not the best kept secret around here. I want everybody to know it. This ain't a secret, right? And I see you. Good job. I want to commend you again on the work that you're
Thank
doing
you.
at Leaders of Excellence. And before we close, I want you to give everybody who is watching us today a little information about you, give me your website, how we can find you on social media, any special thing that you have going on. You can kind of shout that out right now. Any plans
Okay.
for 2023?
Yes. So we have just a bunch of new partnerships that we'll be announcing in 2023. So to stay updated with us, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And our social media handles are Leaders of Excellence. We have a career fair that will be in February. We'll have a college fair that will be in May. We have back to school drives that'll be in August. We have so many events planned. But to stay current with everything that we have going on, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter. That website is going to be www.leadersofexcellence.org. If you have questions about our upcoming workshops, our programs, feel free to inbox us on Facebook or Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And for everybody else out there, be worth funding. I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Be worth funding. That's the mug.